The great throne hall of the Celestari Palace shimmered like a field of stars. Light floated in the air as if tiny galaxies had been captured and placed inside crystal lanterns. The tall pillars glowed with soft silver patterns that shifted like gentle waves. Every alien noble stood in silence, dressed in robes that reflected different colors depending on how they breathed. It was a place where humans normally walked with their heads bowed, aware that their species was young and inexperienced in the eyes of these ancient beings. But today was different. A human stood in the center of that shining hall with steady feet and a determined face. His name was Captain Aaron Blake. He wore a clean but simple uniform, a sign that he came not as a warrior or commander, but as a man with something personal to say. His heart thudded slowly under his chest, louder than the murmurs of the nobles who whispered about him. Everyone knew it saved a Celestari fleet from a collapsing star. His courage had already earned respect, but no one understood why he had requested a private audience with Queen Sorelith herself. Some aliens believed he wanted a reward. Others thought he wished for a treaty or a trade deal. A few suspected humans always wanted something dramatic. Arin did not want any of that. He had come for something deeper, something that made his palms warm and his throat dry. He had come for Princess Lore. She stood not far from her mother's throne, her long white-silver hair glowing softly in the light. Her lavender eyes watched him with curiosity and growing fear. She already knew, in her heart, what he might say. She had fought at his side when the Celestari fleet fell into danger. She had been trapped with him inside a failing starship, and he had carried her through flames when she collapsed from exhaustion. After that, the two had shared long conversations, quiet laughs, moments of fear and moments of hope. Feelings grew between them. Feelings neither spoke aloud because their worlds were so far apart. But Aaron had never been a coward. Not in battle, and not in love. Queen Sorella sat with perfect stillness. Her crown looked like a frozen burst of light, and her presence filled the hall like calm ocean waves. Her people believed she could see truth even when truth hid itself. When she spoke, her voice was soft but strong. "Captain Aaron Blake," she said, "the Celestari Dominion welcomes you. You requested a private audience. Speak your purpose now." All eyes turned to him. The pressure felt heavy, but he didn't step back. He took a slow breath and lifted his head. "Your Majesty," he said, "I did not come to ask for anything for myself. Not power, not reward, not status. I came because I needed to tell you something from my heart." The hall grew silent. Even the floating lights seemed to pause. Aaron felt his heartbeat thumping so loudly he wondered if everyone could hear it. His throat tightened for a moment, but he forced himself to continue. His voice was steady now, filled with sincere determination. "I want to marry your daughter," he whispered. His words echoed through the hall like a wave hitting still water. Nobles gasped. Some aliens stepped backward in shock. A few whispered in disbelief. A human asking to marry a Celestari princess was unheard of. It was madness in their eyes, bravery in a few, foolishness in others. Princess Leora froze, her breath catching in her throat. Her eyes widened, and her fingers trembled where she held the edge of her gown. She had expected he might confess feelings, but not something this direct, this bold, this full of truth. Her heart fluttered in a way she could not hide. Aaron stood there, not hiding from the moment. His voice had been soft, but the entire hall had heard it clearly. His courage was not noisy or aggressive. It was gentle, sincere, and impossible to ignore. Queen Sorelith looked down at him, her expression unreadable. Her eyes, old as starlight, studied every detail of his face, searching for doubt or pride or hidden desire. She found none. That surprised her more than his words. For a long moment, no one breathed. The queen slowly stood from her throne. Her robes flowed around her like clouds of silver mist. The nobles bowed as she took a single step forward. Her face remained calm, but her presence carried a weight that pressed against every heart in the room. Everyone waited for anger, punishment, rejections, something fierce. Instead, the queen's lips curved just slightly, forming a faint but real smile. She leaned forward, her eyes sharp but warm, and said quietly, almost like a secret meant only for him, my answer. She stopped there. She did not finish her sentence. She simply let the words hang in the air, gripping every soul in the hall with suspense. She turned her gaze away from Aaron and addressed the entire hall. A human, she said slowly, stands before me with a request that many of my own people fear to ask. A request made with no arrogance, only honesty. I will not reject such courage without understanding it. She returned her gaze to Aaron. Tell us why. Aaron swallowed hard. This was the moment he had feared. He was not a poet. He was not a noble. He did not have beautiful speeches. He only had truth. I love her, he said softly. Leora's breath caught again. Aaron continued, his words simple, his voice unshaking. I love her because she is brave, not in the way of soldiers, but in the way of someone who carries hope even when she is afraid. I love her because she listens not only with her ears, but with her heart. I love her because she treats me not like a human who knows less, but like a person whose soul matters. He took a small step forward. When we faced danger together, when the ship was falling apart around us, it was her voice that kept me moving. When the world shook with fear, she put her hand on my shoulder and trusted me completely. I have never felt that kind of trust from anyone before. Tears formed in Princess Leora's eyes. She tried to blink them away, but a single drop slipped down her cheek. Aaron continued, still speaking gently and with full honesty. I would protect her even if I had nothing left. I would choose her even if I had to give up every rank, every medal, and even my place among my own people. He lifted his head, his voice firm. That is why I said it. That is why I want to marry her more than anything. The hall remained silent. Even those who had doubted him now felt the weight of his words. Some nobles looked uncertain. A few looked touched. Many looked stunned. The queen, however, did not look surprised anymore. Instead, she looked thoughtful. There was something in her eyes, something like memory, something like recognition. She slowly walked down the steps from her throne until she stood directly before him. She was taller than any human, and the light around her felt like standing near a rising sun. Human, she said softly. You speak with a spirit that is rare even among my people. But love between worlds cannot be accepted through words alone. Aaron nodded. I understand. But I have not finished my answer, she said. She lifted one hand and gently touched the air above his heart. The touch did not make contact, but a faint silver glow shimmered around him, as if she was measuring the truth inside him. She closed her eyes and took a breath. Then she opened them again, her voice low. My answer will come after I learn whether your heart can stand the trials of our world. The hall murmured in confusion. Princess Leora stepped forward in fear, shaking her head. Mother, please. The queen raised her hand gently, stopping her daughter with a calm gesture. No harm will come to him, she said. But love this deep, love this bold, must be tested. Not through battle, not through pain, but through truth. She looked at Aaron with calm power. If you truly wish to marry my daughter, you must pass a test that no human has ever attempted. Aaron did not hesitate. I will face anything. The queen nodded once. Then, tomorrow morning, you will begin the trial of starbound hearts. The hall gasped again. Even the nobles seemed shaken. It was a trial older than their kingdom, a test of character. Not strength. The queen stepped closer, her eyes warm but steady. Pass it, she said, and I will give you my true answer. Princess Leora reached toward Aaron with trembling fingers before she stopped herself. Her eyes shone with fear and hope. Aaron gave her a small, gentle smile. I'll come back, he whispered. The queen stepped aside and motioned for the guards to escort him out of the hall with honor. As Aaron walked away, he felt hundreds of eyes watching him. But he did not feel fear. He felt a strange peace inside his chest because he had spoken the truth, because he had taken the first step toward the future he wanted. Behind him, the queen watched thoughtfully. Leora watched with her hand pressed to her heart, and the hall remained filled with the echo of his words, "I want to marry her more than anything." Morning came gently over the Celestari capital, filling the sky with soft blue light that shimmered like calm ocean water. Captain Aaron Blake stood on a balcony overlooking the alien city, feeling a quiet wind brush against his face. The city below glowed with floating bridges and crystal towers, nothing like the steel cities humans built. Even now, he wondered if he truly belonged here. But then he remembered Princess Leora's eyes when he told the Queen he wanted to marry her, and the doubt faded. A soft chime echoed through the room. 2 Celestari attendants entered and bowed politely. Captain Aaron once said, "Her Majesty requests your presence at the forest gate. Your trial begins." Out. His chest felt tight, but not from fear, more from the weight of the future he wanted. The attendants guided him through long, glowing hallways until they reached an open platform shaped like a silver leaf. A small skyship waited, silent and elegant. Aaron stepped inside and it rose smoothly into the air, carrying him toward the trial grounds. The forest gate appeared on the horizon like a glowing ring resting at the edge of a living world. The lumina forest beyond it looked peaceful from afar, trees shimmering with blue-white light, leaves floating gently like feathers. But Aaron knew appearances were deceiving. The forest tested the heart, not the body. Queen Sorelith stood before the gate with her royal guards. Princess Leora stood beside her mother, her posture calm, but her eyes filled with quiet worry. When Aaron stepped off the skyship, Leora took a small step toward him before stopping herself. She was not allowed to interfere. Aaron bowed respectfully to the Queen. She studied him with the same unreadable expression from the throne hall. "Captain Aaron Blake," she said, "the trial is simple to describe but difficult to complete. You must walk the Lumina Forest and return with a heart stone that chooses you. You may not force it. You may not break it. Only truth will guide you." He nodded. "I understand." "You may face illusions, memories, or things your heart fears," the Queen continued. "But remember this, the forest does not wish to harm you. It only reflects who you are." Then she stepped aside. Aaron looked at Princess Leora. Her lips trembled slightly, and she whispered, "Come back to me." She wanted to say more, but the guard stood too close. She held her hands together tightly instead. Aaron gave her a gentle smile before turning toward the shining gateway. He took a deep breath, stepped forward, and crossed into the Lumina Forest. The moment he entered, the air changed. It felt warmer, softer, almost alive. The trees glowed faintly, lighting the path without any sun. Aaron walked slowly, taking in the strange beauty around him. Leaves drifted past him like tiny stars. The ground hummed lightly under his feet. At first, nothing seemed dangerous, but then he heard a soft rustling behind him. He turned and saw a figure tall, familiar, wearing a battered human soldier's uniform. It was him, or at least an illusion of him. But this version's eyes were full of bitterness and fear. "Why are you here?" the illusion asked. "Humans don't belong in places like this. You'll fail. You'll disappoint her. You'll lose everything." Aaron clenched his jaw. He had heard these doubts in his own mind before. He took a careful breath. "I'm not here because I think I'm worthy," he said softly. "I'm here because I'm willing." The illusion stared at him for a moment, then broke apart like smoke. The forest accepted his answer. Aaron continued walking, moving deeper into the glowing woods. The whispers followed him, nound, harsh but testing. They showed him memories of battles, moments when he felt powerless, fears he never spoke aloud. At one point, he saw an illusion of Princess Leora turning away from him, saying she would never choose a human. His chest hurt at the sight, but he kept moving. "That's not her," he whispered. "She would never say that. And even if she did, my feelings would not disappear." The illusions faded again. Hours passed, or perhaps only minutes. Time felt different here. Aaron reached a clearing where a single stone rested on a pedestal of roots. But the stone was broken, cracked through the center. A faint light flickered inside it, weak and fading. Aaron approached slowly. He knew he was not supposed to fix it by force. He knelt beside it and placed his hand gently near the crack without touching it. I'm not here to take you, he said quietly. I'm here to ask. I don't want power. I don't want a title. I only want a chance to stand beside her. If you choose me, I'll be grateful. If not, I'll accept it. The forest became silent. Then the faint light inside the cracked heartstone brightened. Slowly, the crack sealed itself, glowing with soft white light until the stone was whole again. It lifted into the air and floated gently into Aaron's hands. He felt warm energy pass through his chest. Peaceful and calm, he had passed. When he walked toward the edge of the forest, the trees seemed to bow slightly. As if wishing him well, Aaron stepped back through the gate. The queen watched him calmly. But Princess Leora gasped with joy when she saw the glowing heartstone. Aaron held it out respectfully. The forest accepted my heart, he said softly. Queen Sorelith stepped forward, her face unreadable. She lifted the hearthstone in her hand. It glowed, even brighter recognizing her as well. Then she looked directly at him. Now, she said, her voice low, I am ready to give you my answer. The moment Queen Sorelith said she was ready to give her answer, the entire gathering at the forest gate fell silent. Even the soft wind seemed to hold its breath. The glowing heartstone floated between her fingers, bright and warm, pulsing like a living heartbeat. Captain Aaron Blake stood straight, though his chest felt tight. He had survived illusions, fears, memories. And the forest's ancient test butt, now came the moment that felt heavier than everything else combined. Princess Leora's eyes shone with hope and fear mixed together. She stood slightly behind her mother, her hands pressed close to her chest. She wanted to step forward and stand beside Aaron, but she respected the tradition. This moment belonged to the queen, and to the man who had walked through the forest with a heart that did not break, Queen Sorelith. Looked at the heartstone for a long time before she finally lifted her gaze to Aaron. This stone, she said softly, does not repair itself for strength or ambition. It heals only for hearts that speak truth. You walked into a forest that reveals every shadow inside a soul, yet you came back with calm steps and a steady spirit. Aaron did not know what to say. So he simply waited, the queen continued. You did not fight the illusions. You did not deny your fears. You faced them with honesty, and you moved forward because of love, not pride. That is something rare, even among my own people. Her eyes softened just slightly. And it is the first reason my answer has changed. Aaron blinked. Changed. He had expected acceptance or rejection, not a shift, not a gradual movement like tides turning under moonlight. Queen Sorelith stepped closer to him. She extended her hand, holding the glowing heartstone in her palm, the light from it reflected in her eyes. Captain Aaron Blake, the forest has approved your heart, and now I give you my answer. She took a small breath, her voice gentle but steady. My answer is yes. Princess Leora let out a soft gasp, her hands flying to her mouth. Some of the guards shifted with surprise. Even the attendants exchanged stunned looks. Humans marrying into the Celestari royal family was something that had never happened in their long history. But the queen was not finished. She lowered the heartstone into Aaron's hands, and the warmth of it spread through his arms. My yes, she said softly, is not simply for a ceremony or a union. It is for the man you have proven yourself to be. Aaron bowed his head, overwhelmed. He had faced more battles in his life than he could count, but nothing felt as impossibly and as meaningful as standing here in front of the queen. With her acceptance, Princess Leora could not hold herself back anymore. She rushed toward him, stopping only when she reached his side, her eyes glowing with tears of happiness. She reached out, hesitated only a moment, then gently held his hand. He squeezed her fingers softly, feeling warmth travel through him like sunlight breaking into darkness. Queen Sorelith watched them with quiet understanding. You have both chosen each other, she said, and I will honor that choice. But your journey is not complete, Aaron Blake. Aaron looked up, confused. Your Majesty? She turned and walked toward a large silver platform surrounded by tall stone pillars carved with ancient patterns. A council of nobles approached, their expressions mixed, some curious, some doubtful, some openly disapproving. The queen spoke clearly, so her voice carried across the open space. A marriage between our worlds requires more than a personal bond. It requires unity between our peoples. It requires trust between the Celestari Dominion and humanity. And it requires that both of you stand not only as lovers, but as those who bring hope to two different civilizations. Aaron felt Leora's hand tighten slightly. He looked at her, searching her eyes. She nodded, encouraging him. They had faced danger together before. They could face politics and tradition now, Queen Sorelith continued. You both must take part in the ceremony of stars, a tradition that binds two souls and presents them before the entire Celestari system. If completed successfully, no one will have the right to doubt your union. Aaron nodded slowly. I'll do whatever is required. The Queen's gaze softened again. I know you will. With a graceful motion, she raised her hand. Light formed around the stone pillars, creating a shining circle in the air. The ground beneath Aaron's feet hummed gently, sensing his presence. Princess Leora stepped beside him inside the circle. The Queen explained, This ceremony does not test pain or strength. It tests balance. It will show how your spirits connect. If the stars respond with harmony, the bond will be approved. If they fall into silence, it means your hearts are not aligned deeply enough. Aaron felt nervous for the first time since entering the forest. Not because he doubted his feelings, but because this ceremony was something he did not understand. But Leora reached out and touched his arm gently. Do not fear, she whispered. The stars listen to truth, and your heart has always spoken it. Her words calmed him, just like they had during their first mission together. Queen Sorelith lifted her hands, and the sky above shifted as if responding to her call. Clouds parted, revealing a wide stretch of deep blue sky filled with softly glowing constellations. They formed patterns unlike anything a human had seen before, shapes of wings. Rivers of light, starborn creatures from myths. Begin, the Queen said. Aaron and Leora took each other's hands. The circle of light around them shimmered and rose upward like a gentle flame. A wind brushed against them, warm and soft. The stars above brightened. One by one, threads of light fell gently downward, like strands of glowing silk. They touched the circle around the couple and then drifted toward them. Aaron felt something inside him shift like a window opening. He felt Leora's emotions with clarity, her hope, her fear of losing him, her deep admiration for his bravery, and the gentle warmth she kept close to her heart. It wasn't overwhelming. It was comforting, like stepping into a room filled with warm light. Leora felt his heart to his sincerity. His steady courage, the memories he carried of battles and losses, and the quiet longing for a place where he belonged. And she realized that for him, she had become that place. The stars responded. Light burst outward in a soft wave, forming shapes around them like floating blossoms made of starlight. The circle glowed brighter, rising higher until it reached above their heads. Gasps came from the nobles. Even the Queen smiled with visible relief. The light gathered and then spiraled upward, returning to the sky in a graceful arc. The constellations shifted again, forming a new pattern, a symbol of unity. The ceremony of stars had accepted them. When the light faded, Iran still held Leora's hands, breathless from the experience. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. It worked, she whispered. He smiled softly, brushing his thumb against her fingers. We worked. Queen Sorelith stepped forward, her voice steady and proud. The stars have spoken. The bond is true. The council bowed reluctantly or respectfully, depending on their views. It did not matter. The ceremony had left no room for doubt. The Queen lifted her hand again. Then I, Sorelith of the Celestari Dominion, grant my blessing for the union of my daughter, Princess Leora, with Captain Aaron Blake of humanity. Princess Leora let out a soft breath of relief and joy. Aaron felt his heart swell, stronger than any victory he had ever known. Leora stepped closer to him, her voice trembling with happiness. You walked through fear. You faced the forest. You showed your heart to the stars, and you came back to me. Aaron looked into her glowing eyes. I told you I would. The Queen smiled warmly at them both. From this day forward, Your bond will be known throughout our worlds. May your union bring peace, understanding, and light across our two species." Aaron gently lifted Leora's hand to his lips, kissing the back of it softly. The nobles gasped again, but this time not in disapproval, rather, in surprise at the tenderness of the gesture. Leora blushed faintly, her heart full, and as Aaron stood beside her, with the Queen's blessing and the star's acceptance, he knew he had finally found something stronger than war, stronger than fear, stronger than the oceans of space that separated worlds. He had found a future with the woman he loved.